debate the other night.
Oh,
Fantastic.
He kicked that old broken down pile of crap.
Yeah.
It's a bad guy. He just quit, you know. He's quitting the race. Is that right? Yep, I got him out of the race. And that means we have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic. It's so amazing. It's just so fucking bad. So I just can't imagine. But can you imagine that guy dealing with Putin and the president of China, who's a fierce person? He's a fierce man, a very tough guy. And they see him, they probably can't. But they just announced he's probably quitting.
Good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Just keep knocking him out, right?
Will tell you that we're worse off no matter what the outcome is. We know Joe Biden can't do this job, and what we've seen in limited ability with Kamala Harris is that she doesn't have the ability to do it as well. Remember, she was the border czar. She was tapped by Joe Biden to fix our southern border, and she went down to the northern triangle countries instead of actually spending time on the southern border, actually understanding all of the implications of Joe Biden's reckless policy decisions when it came to securing this nation. And we've not seen her since. I think the fact that her schedule is wide open is indicative of a couple things. Number one, it looks to me like she doesn't even want to put her hands on any of this mess. She's trying to stay out of the way. And also it appears that Joe Biden doesn't want her to be involved at all. There's real division in this White House. That's the way it appears to me. But the American people need to understand, whether it's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or anybody else, the radical Democrat agenda remains the same. The Democrats all agree on open borders. They agree on massively overspending. They agree on being weak on the foreign policy front. None of those things are going to work out for the American people. Doesn't matter who steps up. They both need to be defeated this November.
Great messaging by Byron Donalds at the end there in the intro. As you saw, Donald Trump also, Donald Trump, I think the reason why Donald Trump is such a force in politics right now is that he's just so relatable. We all know, like, this past Independence Day, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. People were probably talking like that around the kitchen table. They're like, yo, this guy got to get the F out of the office, bro. Who's running the country? Like, what's the hell's going on? And these Democrats don't seem to understand this, right? The longer they do this, the more their credibility is being hurt, honestly. And I think Democrats don't really care about the American people. Like, if you cared about people, would you risk your reputation, your brand, putting out a guy like that, a candidate like that? They're like, this is the candidate that you guys didn't want a primary against? That you forced all the other candidates, you made it hard for the other candidates to get on the ballot to challenge? Now he brought up Democrat governors he met with Democratic governors, and here they are singing his praises. Like, this is how fickle politics is. This is why rational, intelligent people don't want to get into politics, because it's almost like acting. Like, oh, you got to act like you like this guy. Like, let's listen to this snippet, and then I'll show you why everything they're saying here is possibly a lie.
Critical for governors. We've served when Donald Trump was president, and the threats to our nation were real. And so those concerns are real to us. And what we understand was a Trump presidency was chaos, destruction. A Biden presidency was dealing with COVID, using the science, investing in infrastructure.
This is a lie. Like, to imply that, oh, Donald Trump's whole presidency was chaos. 2020. Look at COVID. Look at the COVID response. The reason why they say it's chaos is because Donald Trump didn't take an authoritarian stance and force either all the states to open or all the states to close. And you already saw the aspect of that. The good thing that came out of that 2020, the way Donald Trump ran the COVID apparatus, is that we got to see which way worked better. Florida did one thing, New York did another. Some states did a blend of both. Everyone got a shot at how they was going to address this issue. And the results came in, and Democrats overwhelmingly failed at addressing COVID. Joe Biden had more COVID deaths than Donald Trump after 2020. Make that make sense. You have vaccines. We have a lot of the information out there already, and you still had more COVID deaths than Donald Trump. But Donald Trump's administration was such a disaster. Look at the framing, right? You got a little 17 seconds of that, because I want to make this point very directly. Articles are coming out, right? More brutal details emerged from Biden's meeting with the Dems governors. The last video I was highlighting to you was some of the Democratic governors speaking. Joe Biden isn't going anywhere for now, despite his catastrophic debate performance against Donald Trump. It has sparked a low-grade civil war amongst Democrats. However, top donors wanting Biden to get booted where 66% of the party base want him to remain. Still, with devastating polls of how voters still regarding his mental health, 72% think he's too old. The whisper campaign to remove Biden will continue, and it's blood in the water. You saw in the intro, Byron Donalds highlighted how Kamala Harris, she has her schedule open. She ain't trying to get involved in this. She was in charge of the border. Look what happened. You want her in charge of the country? I mean, history don't really teach you what's going to happen next, but it can give you a good indicator what's likely to happen. And this country will go kaput. Not kaput. I mean, she got 4 months. How much can you mess up in 4 months, right? Right? Hey, we don't know. She might prove us wrong. But it seemed like, the pressure continues. So it looks like Kamala Harris is going to be the front runner. Seems like the front runner, the person that they're willing to switch Biden out for. And some polls are showing up that he is losing. So 4th of July passed, and Biden tried to talk without a teleprompter, and this was the result.
Want to do? There's 7,000 people waiting at the gate to get in. So if I don't finish this, they can't come in. So maybe if you're hanging around, I'm going to sneak back out if that's okay, all right? But thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember that famous expression?
Hold on.
They also serve who only stand and wait. I remember when our son was deployed, my wife would go to stand in the sink in the morning, drinking her coffee, and saying that prayer, worrying, always concerned, and all of you. So we owe you. This could not be done without the family support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you. You got me, man. I'm not going anywhere. All right. All right, I'll come back out when they open the gate, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. One last thing. I used to think when I was a senator, there were always congestion on the highways. There's no congestion anymore. None. We go on the highway, there's no congestion. And so the way they get me to stop talking, they'll say, we just shut down all the roads, Mr. President. You're going to lose all the votes if you don't get in. But anyway, I'll be back out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. Thank you.
Hey, man, it's bad. It's bad. Right, as you saw, Grant Grunewald, now a lot of liberals are mad at the fact that media is constantly covering the speculation if Biden is going to drop out. Look, you can't get away from this story. No matter how much mass dislikes you Democrat-loving commenters in my comment section put out, this is the story. It ain't Trump. It ain't about Trump. It's about Biden right now. Right? Trump gave his 2 cents. We all just watching the spectacle happen because right now, Republicans feel like they can't really campaign until they know who their opponent is. Now, as you saw from the intro, Donalds gave a good example of how you can still campaign Republicans without waiting for the Democrats to pick and choose whether they want to swap Biden or not swap Biden. This is the messaging we should be doing. Hey, it don't matter who it is. Democrats endorse open borders. Democrats endorse this economy. They believe the economy is doing good, America. That's an unpopular thing to say to Americans. I don't care what kind of stats you try to show up because all I got to do is show stats from 2021 and say, look at the inflation rate. Dude bought groceries, 45 items 2 years ago. Sorry, 3 years ago. It cost this much. It cost like $146. Now it costs $414. How is that a strong economy? I'm not benefiting from inflation. How is this a strong economy for the common American? This is what it is. Now you got liberals crying about, oh, look. Yes, totally. When the U.S. media finally starts criticizing Donald Trump, life is so unfair. The media is so biased against Democrats and enamored of Trump. The way in which a person's perception can be totally effed up by living in a closed information system is alarming. And this is the problem with liberals. This is a problem with the Democratic voter, in my view anyway. Is that you guys are in a closed information system. MSNBC, liberal. CNN leans liberal. ABC, CBS, journalists, I already said it. I don't know. If you're new to this channel, I beat this point like a dead horse. Journalism is the most liberal profession in America right now. Overwhelmingly dominated by liberals. So they're giving you information that puts their guy in a positive light, usually. And now they see that no matter how they spin it, they can't protect Biden, as you saw from what I showed you in the clip before, right? Here's another example. Apparently, Joe Biden mistaken Independence Day for Christmas. Yes.
And we give thanks to our Commander-in-Chief, the President of
Floridian slip there.
the United States, the extraordinary President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Ho, ho, ho! Happy Independence Day!
So, Kamala had almost actually, she did have a Floridian slip. She almost introduced Biden as the vice president, right? Who's more like, these are your options, Democrats? I already showed you 2 days ago the polls, what they suggest. Vivek, who's been like kind of ahead on all this, Biden's going to get swapped out. I want to hear what he has to say. A lot of geniuses are coming out of the woodworks to predict that it won't be Biden. But when it's been obvious for over a year, the real question is what's going to happen in the next 4 months. Following the incentives, later the Democrats make the switch, the more advantage it is for them. Here's why. There'll be the initial 3-4 months honeymoon phase where the public, aided by MSM coverage, is likely going to fall in love with anyone they put in as Biden's successor. At minimum, it will be the public's sense of relief, akin to the feeling of gratitude that a tortured prisoner feels for his liberator. The Democrats' ideal scenario is for the election to occur during that honeymoon phase, long before the public scrutiny of the new candidate begins. Every day that passes between now or late August to make the switch, the better off they'll be. Conventional wisdom says that it's messy for them to swap someone out later, but it's increasingly clear that that view is wrong. The GOP's best way to protect against this risk is to offer our own vision of who we are, what we stand for, irrespective of what puppet the Democratic machine puts up next. Individual, family, nation, and God beats race, gender, sexuality, and climate. Trump's embrace of national pride and American secularism is something that countless Americans are hungry for, regardless of race or party. That's how we win. That's how we save our nation. I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think that's the messaging that we need to hear. And I honestly believe, this is why I think, this is why Vivek should be VP. Honestly, bar none, I think Vivek is one of the best advocates for conservatism. Honestly, if you put him in a room with people who don't really agree with him, he can make his point, articulate it very clearly, and he can get many people to at least consider what he has advocated for. And I think this is a prime example of this. I think this is something I've been saying for a long time. Hey, don't focus on the candidate. It don't matter about the candidate. Attack the policies, attack the mindset, attack the worldview of the Democratic Party, which is what you saw Byron Donalds do in the beginning of this video. It's no longer about a personality with the Democrats anymore. Think of them as legion. I am legion, we are many. That's the Democrats. They don't focus on whoever they happen to have up at the moment. They are legion. Criticize the legion. Democrats do this. Democrats endorse that. Democrats, what you would do differently. I gave a little synopsis of this feeling that I had already. And I don't think no matter what the Democrats do, they can't really escape that. They can't escape the negative results of Joe Biden's policies because many of them had endorsed it publicly. But privately, you want to criticize it. Make it make sense. It does not help the Democrat Party publicly enshrining with Biden. And you hear Democrat donors are starting wanting to pull out. Mega donors threatening to, I'm going to take him out. And they always make it about Trump. I don't understand this obsession. It's your party that's having the problem. Your party that collapsed. Republicans had their primaries. Republicans already voted for Trump. And let's say Trump had to face a scenario similar to Biden. It's a lot easier because we had a primary. A lot of our base, a lot of the nation's already familiar with a lot of the candidates on the Republican side. If I mention Vivek Ramaswamy, you know who that is. If I mention Nikki Haley, many people know who that is. More than Gavin Newsom, more than Gretchen Whitmer. I forgot her name. Actually, I forgot her name. The Michigan governor. Kamala Harris is the only one that has a similar amount of national attention because she's already been vice president for 4 years. She ran as a Democratic candidate for presidency. These are the options. So it has to be Harris. It has to be Kamala if they want to switch Biden. So, honeymoon phase, that sounds plausible. That sounds like that's something that could work in the Democrats' favor. But hey, we'll see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.